Hey, gun people, do a crazy cop story. I forgot what sparked this in my head. I forgot about it a while and I hadn't remembered it. But so when I was working for the DA's office, the DA, Jeff Reisig, that crooked lion piece of that's still in office, he was all into kind of keeping his buddies and giving his buddy DA attorneys concealed permits to carry a gun. Now, it's funny, in California, the DA isn't considered a peace officer and he is not authorized to carry a gun. He has to get a permit from the sheriff of the county that he's in. Now, supposedly the DA is the highest law enforcement officer in the county, but he can't have a gun. And he has to get permission from the sheriff, which is why the sheriff and him tend to be buddies, which is why they tend to cover each other's ass, which is why anytime the DA has to investigate the sheriff and you think it's non-political, you're wrong, because the DA gets his permit to carry a gun from the sheriff. But the DA in his position can authorize peace officers, investigators, people like me that work for him. He can sign their document saying they're a peace officer, they're authorized to carry a gun 24 hours a day in the state, on, off duty, etc. So, but he can't carry a gun himself. Typical, government bureaucracy ignorance. Well, the DA, because of that, he was allowed to talk to the sheriff, who they were buddies, and the sheriff was into other stuff too, and he had plenty of his own problems, political. But, the only one that could investigate him was the DA. So as long as he was buddies with the DA, he knew he wouldn't get investigated. And if he did get investigated, the DA would tell the investigators, don't charge him, tone it down, keep it secret, nobody needs to know, I'm going to say there's not enough evidence. And of course the DA wouldn't have somebody like me investigate him, because I'd be like, that's bullshit, he's wrong. He would have one of his yes men, one of his lieutenants that he's promoted that he knows is a liar and that will do what he's told and is a good team player. He would have one of them do the investigation, because he knows that he's going to come back and say, whatever you want, boss, it doesn't matter to me. If I got to lie, if I got to say I didn't find it, whatever. It's your call. I'm just on your side. Whatever you want. I want the next promotion. We're buddies. I got your back. We're team players. So that's how investigations work when you get this political kind of thing. So anyway, to the crazy cop story, he would tell the sheriff if he wanted one of his DAs armed. So if you were one of his buddies and he liked you, and and again, I used to play poker with a DA. I'd play poker with a few DAs. I mean, I know the inside cloud. We were all, before he was the DA, we were all kind of buddies and did things. So, well, of course, when he became DA, the power went to his head, and he thought he was untouchable, and he forgot what I consider everywhere he came from, and he became his true colors. So he started giving his buddies, these guys, the right to carry a gun, because DAs, although they love to prosecute, claim gun control, and most of them are freaking liberals, they don't think they should have to apply with gun control. They think they should get to carry a gun. Kind of like a lot of cops. I don't want anybody else carrying a gun, but I'm special, I should carry a gun. I always thought that was bullshit, hypocritical, but whatever. So, I don't mind citizens having guns. I like citizens having guns. I'm a big Second Amendment guy, but I'm from Texas. You got to realize I was working in California, where most people were brought up brainwashed about anti-Second Amendment. Nobody should have a gun except the government. So he would let his DAs that were in his, what we called his A-team, his inside group, who would do anything he told them, who would throw a case, dump a case, charge a case, go after somebody that he didn't like and let somebody go that he liked. Those were his A-team guys. So if they wanted to carry a gun so they could be the few in the office, I don't know, 40, 50 DAs, if he could be the few that could carry a gun, then he would let them carry a gun. And he would write a letter to the sheriff saying, yeah, he's in good standing, he should be able to carry a gun. If you weren't on his A-team and you wanted to get a permit, he'd say, nah, you know what, you didn't support me on this, you didn't do this, you questioned me, I don't know if I can trust you, when I asked you to do something illegal, you kind of hesitated, so I don't know if I can trust you, so you don't get a gun. So that's how he tells the sheriff who to issue and who doesn't, and the sheriff goes, no problem, because you're going to cover my back when I get investigated, and I'm going to cover yours, and we're in the county, and we're in this together, and we're both elected, and we're special. So the sheriff would issue whoever he told him to issue to. Well, he issued to a few attorneys that, I mean, look, I don't care if attorneys had guns. I don't care if attorney wants to carry a gun. I just think it ought to be fair. If everybody wants it, then you should be able to get it. You shouldn't have to beg, plead, kiss your ass, and do all this bullshit to get it. Well, this one guy was a young attorney, and he was carrying a gun. And, the old saying, all attorneys want to be cops and think they're cops, and all cops want to be attorneys or think they're attorneys. because we both work in the legal system from different areas. We both need each other, and we both have our strong and weaknesses, and we both have knowledge that the other one doesn't. Now, an attorney thinks they have more knowledge than all cops, and cops think that we have more knowledge than most attorneys because they're idiots. But when it comes to legal-wise, an attorney's been through law school, they passed the bar, they've been in the courtroom, they know the ins and outs, they've lost cases, and they have experience in being in a courtroom. Whereas cops, our experience is less and limited, and we don't have to deal with the judge as much, and we're more worried about the prosecution is setting up a good case for the DA to prosecute and get a conviction. So we're still on the same team, but we have different goals. Well, when you give DAs guns, some of them like to get, think they're a cop. So there were DAs that would go out on ride-alongs with investigators or cops, and they would carry a gun, and they would think they're cops, and they would get involved. There was one DA, I don't remember the particulars or whatever. He pulled a gun on somebody that he shouldn't have. He threw some guy, said he was a cop, and he shouldn't have, and it kind of caused it. So, the cops were kind of like, what do we do? He's the DA, and, he shouldn't have done that. Or he might have tackled a guy, and he held him at gunpoint and tackled him, and it was the wrong guy, and he shouldn't have done it, but he was playing cop, and he didn't know all the ins and outs of being a cop, so he screwed the pooch on this, and it was bad. And instead of covering it up, because, we're all down for the brotherhood, we're cops, and if I help the DA, then he'll help me if I get investigated, so I don't want to sell out one of his DAs, so let me call the DA and tell him what happened, and the DA will tell me what to do, and then I'll know if I need to charge this guy or let him go and cover it up. Well, the DA knew him and talked, I don't want bad publicity, I don't want people knowing that I'm arming my DAs and putting them out there to play cops when they should be prosecuting cases, so I don't want this coming out. So the cops didn't do a report. They didn't mention him in a report. They covered it up, and later the guy mentioned the defense attorney, and it came out, and then there was a deal cut because the defense attorney was going to sell out the DA because if he didn't tell it and they hid it from the report, and so they let the guy go, and the guy got off because the DA was out there and it was bullshit. And as a cop, I was offended because I thought everybody was fucking lying, it was bullshit. But anyway, I'm just one of those, they call it idealists, the crazy cowboy from Texas who, he's an idealist. He believes, everything should be done right. He doesn't know that as government we should have special rules and special benefits, and we should be able to lie and hide and do all this stuff because we're trying to protect the stupid people. So that was one incident that was kind of turning me off. Then there was another incident where I was going out to serve a warrant, and one of the DAs wanted to come with me. And I was friends with this guy, and he's a nice guy. I like him. He's still at the DA's office. And I don't want to say his name or dog him because I don't want to get him in shit, but he's just a freaking pussy. I'm sorry, most attorneys are pussies. A lot of cops are pussies, but attorneys are really pussies. They think they're big shots in a courtroom when they have an armed guard and they're in a courtroom and they're protected, but when you get them outside, most of them are freaking shaking in their pants and they're pussies. So this guy was a pussy. And so he's going to come out with us and he's going to be a cop. No, you're going to do a warrant, man, I'm going to go with you. And I got my gun on and I got my little badge because DAs get a badge. It says district attorney. So they have a little badge. Even though they're not peace officers, they're special, So they get a badge and they go out there. So he comes out on this search and we're going after some parolee. And we get to the house and the guy I think's inside and I hear somebody hiding. And there was me and maybe one or two other cops and there was him. So 2 cops went to the back and I was going in the front. So I get my gun out and I go, come on, and he puts his hand on his gun. His eyes get all big. He's like, man, I'm gonna wait out here by the car. I go, you fucking pussy. I said, you wanna come out here, you wanna carry a gun? Come on, let's go. And I'm giving him shit, because again, we're buddies, I've been to his house, I've been drinking. I've just never seen the complete pussy side of him. So I was giving him shit like, dude, why you wimping out? You always talking shit about cops, how easy it is. I said, let's go, come with me, we'll clear the house. No, I'll wait outside. So his ass went and waited in the car. We went in and grabbed it. I can't remember if we found him or he went out the back. We chased. Well, I don't remember the details, but I remember him being a freaking pink panty, liberal ass attorney, and he was a liberal. That's why me and him could never talk politics, because I was just like, how can you be so stupid, dude? So anyway, we disagreed on politics, but he was a typical liberal pink panty pussy, scared to go out there, but wasn't scared to carry a gun, wasn't scared to carry a badge, wasn't scared to get up in court and send people to prison, that he knew he was protected. But when it came down to confronting a guy who was a parolee at large and who needed to go back to jail, suddenly, even though he had a gun and a badge, and attorneys are always like, you cops, if you don't have that gun and a badge, you wouldn't. You know what? You got to have something to be going after these guys who are trying to kill you. I'm not saying we're perfect and we're great, but you can't be a pink panty liberal doing that. And I never forget, I gave him shit, and I'm like, dude, you're not coming out with me. You freaking pants. This is the same, I just thought of this is the same guy. We're on a softball team. I forgot about this. We're on a softball team. We're playing softball with these other teams. And in the team, he kind of gets in a beef with one of the other guys on a bad call and starts arguing with him and trying to beat his freaking DA status and telling him and ordering him around. And I'm like, dude, man, it's a bad call, but, you know, fuck it, let it go. So we're doing this, and I mean, I didn't care if we got in a fight, but I was just like, there ain't no sense in getting a fight over this. This is a ball game. But he got his feelings hurt because he was a DA, and this guy questioned him and did all this shit. So they go out in the parking lot, and they meet, and they're about to go to blows. And he's like in his face like, well, I'm a district attorney, and I work for the... And the dude's like, get the fuck out of here. And he knocks him back about 5 feet, and I go, John, we need to leave. I mean, I could have jumped on him and did it, but look, the DA was wrong. And he turns to me and he goes, run to the car and get your gun. I'm like, have you lost your freaking mind? I'm not bringing my gun out here over some dumbass fight over a ball game, because that's what they think. Cops are just like, if you have a gun and a badge, you have authority and you can make people listen to you and you can order them around. And that was his mindset as a district attorney. And he wanted me to go get my gun and come back and arrest this dude. And I'm like, dude, you've lost your freaking mind. I said, let's get out of here, get in a car. I said, if you want to call the cops, call the cops. I said, I'll be a witness. But I said, this ain't going to, we're in a ball game, we're arguing over a freaking call, and now all of a sudden you want me to jump on the police and arrest this guy. That shit ain't happening. I ain't doing it. Some of your other flunkies may do it, but I ain't doing it. So those are my crazy cop stories for attorneys carrying guns, how government is so inept and corrupt, and what people will never hear and never see, and they think they should trust government, and government has their back and they're going to protect them. Are you kidding me? All right, we'll end that there.